Gang members, this is Alex, your toxic dating coach. And today we're going to be talking about how to prevent male manipulation from happening, okay? And I am the perfect person to teach you this because, well, I understand these kinds of things. And not like I do that kind of stuff, okay? You know? But we're going to be talking about it, and this is a topic that I was thinking about and that I thought would be very interesting to make for you guys. Now look, you guys have to understand is that a man's task is to deceive you. I mean, I'm just being honest. When I mean deceive you, I mean to hype himself up, to exaggerate his value. I feel like I'm rapping. To exaggerate his value so that you could fall in love with him more and you could give it up and that he could procreate and bounce. That's like the evolutionary reason why guys deceive women is because it's actually evolutionarily beneficial. It actually works. And whatever works, either if it's moral or immoral, evolution says fuck it, it works. That's why some animals eat their kids. Okay. Now, a female's role is to learn to identify deception and manipulation. And the reason why is because if some broke ass motherfucker is telling you that he's rich, and then you have a kid with him and you believe him, and all of a sudden you realize he's broke, your kids could die. Especially back in the hunting days. You see what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is basically to make sure to learn to read guys, because it's evolutionary beneficial for the woman to identify manipulation. And if you don't, then you are at a disadvantage to get played. Not by me, but by other guys. You know what I'm saying? Now, disclaimer, it's much harder to read a guy before sex. Why? Because his dick makes him act like a prestigious gentleman. And that's a fact. When a guy wants something from you, he behaves. When the way to make a child behave is to promise him a reward. Promise him something that he's gonna get if he controls himself. And all of a sudden, that little evil motherfucker is gonna behave. You know, the little kid's gonna be like this, right? And so that's how dicks are with men. When a guy wants something from you, of course he's gonna behave. Of course he's gonna feed the children. Of course he's gonna give money to the homeless person that he fucking never gives money to, but all of a sudden he wants to give it with you. You know, of course he's gonna do all of that. Why? Oh, my father completely forgot. Because he wants to behave, because he knows that if you see that, you might say, oh, he's so sweet. You see what I'm saying? So that's one thing, is that when he wants something from you, he's gonna behave. His willpower is gonna be higher. If a man has no time, so one of the first one is if a man has no time for you, okay? If a man has no time for you, either because he's a lawyer or a fucking doctor, and he rarely has time to hang out with you, or he rarely has time to contact you, I'll be honest with you, I would be very careful with dating guys who say they're very busy, or dating guys who say they're horrible texters, because sometimes they're just setting you up to play you. Sometimes they're just saying that so that when the time comes for him to start acting flaky, you know he already have a preemptive excuse as to why he's behaving the way that is. All right? So if you go out with a guy, he tells you he's not a good texter, or he rarely has time to hang out with his girl. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, which he could use as an excuse to not be with you as often. I'll be honest with you, why do you want to do that? Before you even get in that relationship, I would advise to not get in it. It's like saying, would you want to be in love with somebody who lives a continent away? No, you wouldn't, right? But if it happens, you'll work on it, but it's not convenient. So it's kind of like before you even fall in love, make sure you get out of that situation before you even get invested in it. What I'm trying to say is that it's a little difficult dating somebody like that because you don't know whether or not they're playing games or whether or not they're really busy. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's kind of like, I don't know about that, in my opinion. It's kind of like, you know what, if you're really that busy, then you know what, this might not work out. And that's just me, because what if he's really playing games, all right? What if, he might be busy, but what if he uses that to play games? I don't fucking know. Me, I would prefer, if somebody's telling you they're always busy and that they're not good texters, I would prefer to just back away. The next one is be wary of first dates. So if a man has no time for you, be at work or something, best not to pursue. Use your head before you fall in love with this guy. Second thing is be wary of first date spikes. Calm down and pull back because it could be a projection. Whenever you have a first date with somebody and it's going perfect, and you feel that connection, right? And you feel like you can see him. Look, man, it's okay to feel those things in the moment, but I would just highly recommend that you just pull back and because it takes a while to actually like somebody. You get what I'm trying to say? And it could be a projection. It could be just your emotions. Maybe he reminds you of somebody in the past and you think is really him, when in reality it has nothing to do with him. So if it's a really good first date, just take it a little slower. You know what I'm saying? Don't get too excited. Pull back so that because sometimes the chemistry you feel is only one way. Sometimes the chemistry you feel, he doesn't feel it. But because you love what you feel, because those emotions are so intense, you sort of assume that he also feels that. You know, so if you're having a perfect first date, don't control your projections, control your imagination, stop seeing him in the fucking getting married with him, and say pull back and become a little rational and say, okay, this is only one date, this might not work out. Let me lower my expectations. Why? Because if you actually start to buy into what you see in your head, you could easily get manipulated. A guy could see that, you know, and because you're so easy, he'll either one get turned off or two see you as an easy target to play. You know, so even if you like him, don't show it, lower it. Don't wear your heart in your sleeve. It's not a good idea. It sounds romantic, but in practicality, you open yourself up to get played by some people. Another thing is look for one-sidedness. It can be too angelic, too good, too masculine, and expect the opposite. So if a guy comes across as an angel type of person, expect the opposite. Expect the shadow side that's not really angelic. If a guy comes across as, you know, it's kind of like I always say, it's kind of like if you see a woman who's acting, who's always partying, going now, party, having fucking fun, what's the opposite? Depressed, for the most part, right? If you see a guy that's super masculine and, you know, fucking masculine and all that bullshit, it's a guy who is not in touch with his feminine side, and in reality is insecure, right? If a guy looks too confident, too fucking confident, most likely he's insecure inside. So you gotta look for those things rather than looking at the person directly, and because people deceive you. You see what I'm saying? People try to do things temporarily to help you not see their real side, but people always slip up. And they slip up through little contradictions. Or they slip up through their one-sided nature because they try so hard to hide the other part. It's almost like one side is shining, and then there's one side that is not shining. By just noticing that there's one big-sided part about his personality, most likely that's the part that he's using to overcompensate, to hide what lies on the opposite side of that personality. You get what I'm trying to say? So that's one thing. Focus on contradictions. So it could be you have sex with him on the first date and he judges you for it, which makes no fucking sense, right? And some of those things, not all of them, right, are some of the ways that you avoid manipulation, right? Another thing that you could do is assume that things will not work out. Like I said earlier, it's simply to lower your expectations. Okay, it's all that, and always remember, you don't know people. Okay, you really don't know people. What you see for the first 1 or 2 dates is really not who they are. You can feel the chemistry, right? Because you guys are two human beings, and you can feel chemistry without really knowing somebody. You know what I'm saying? But to really know a person and to really believe who they are is what you're seeing in the moment. It's pretty shallow in terms of who you think humans are. Humans are very complex, and you can never really get a full impression of somebody with just one meeting, especially if you're already thinking he's the one for you, especially if you're already thinking by the first date you wanna cop this motherfucker, right? I mean, you wanna cop this guy. You know, that's just being irrational. You gotta become rational and realize it takes a few months, and I understand it's difficult because you might like the guy. Like I always say, you can hang around Hitler long enough and you might even like the guy. You get what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to tell you is that one, you gotta be very alert with people's personality over time, because that's how they really show you who they are, through their contradictions, through moments of pressure. And that means, unfortunately, and this is not, a lot of women don't like to do this, but that means that like when you fall in love, you stop looking. When you fall in love, you stop observing the person. You think you really know him, right? Because you feel a connection, you think you really know him, and you think that this is who he is, until a few months later, because you stop paying attention, he was sending you different signs of his personality that was toxic, and he was hoping that you were so in love that they'll pass you by where you don't even notice. So you got to be careful with that. It's all about not putting your guard down, not putting your sword or shield, not even for a friend. It's not that you strike, but that you're ready to strike if they strike. Always expect, you see, the thing is that humans are unpredictable. And you never know what you're going to get. And unfortunately, when you project your emotions onto people, you begin to not see the person. You stop connecting with them. You stop noticing who they are, in fact, because you're just seeing a complete projection. And when you're somebody who wants love, who wants somebody to care for them in a desperate and intense way, you're going to miss out on a lot of those things because you're inward. Your attention is inward. Your attention is not outward. You're not looking at the world. You're not really connecting. You're not observing. Back then, humans weren't so inward. They weren't always on their phone. They weren't always in their thoughts. They were in the environment. They would notice things in the person. They would notice the different facial expressions. They would notice body language a lot more in a visceral way. This usually tends to happen when you travel, when you go from in far away land in a new country. You notice you're more alive. When you're meeting and somebody new that you like, you pay more attention. But what I want you to do is just to become more of an observer of people. Make it a game to notice little new things about the person. Make it a game to see what can I know, what new things can I know about this person. And also, don't come into don't meet the person always and assume you really know them. Assume that you don't know them. Assume and also look for what makes this person different and unique, right? Look for what makes them unique in a good side, and look for what makes them unique in a bad side. I want you to just become more of an open receiver of people rather than just assuming he looks good, and then all of a sudden you put a little halo effect because he's good looking, or because he reminds you of Tyrone, the personal trainer, and because you really like him because he reminds you of somebody. Everything he does is gold. You see what I'm saying? So you just have to be careful, because most likely you do that. So rather than say, do I do that? Assume you do that and look for it. Assume you do that and look for your projections.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces, one is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're going to be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man. Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one will teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women of power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship. And this, a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you can read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so most likely I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you can pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. I'm closing the channel.